Hey summer schoolers, this is Mr. Schmidt. Today we're going to have a tutorial on how to play Pokemon Trading Card Game. In a few minutes you'll be receiving your deck from your instructor and have a chance to start playing the game, but before that we're going to talk a bit about how the game actually works. So in your box you're going to have a play mat, which you can see we've got set up here. You're going to have a deck of cards. You're going to have a coin. There's going to be a few other things in there. There's going to be some damage counters. You'll be using those to keep track. Inside your deck, you're going to have a variety of cards. So you'll have these trainer cards. These are item cards. During your turn, you can play as many item cards as you like. You're also going to have energies in your deck. And so those energy cards will look like this. For the most part, they're going to be all basic energy that you'll have inside your deck. You'll also have Pokemon, and some of your Pokemon will be labeled basic. Others will be labeled things like stage 1 or stage 2. When we talk about playing, we're going to be looking for basic Pokemon to make our plays. Additionally, you'll have some supporter cards. Here's an example of a trainer that's a supporter. Each of these cards has instructions on it, and you basically just follow the instructions when you use that trainer card. We'll talk about how often you can play those cards in just a bit. More, we've got a few other item cards here, another basic Pokemon, a couple more supporters. Again, each supporter has their own special features. You'll also have these, as I said, stage 1 or stage 2 Pokemon. These are evolutions of previous Pokemon, and they'll always say up here where they evolve from. So this example evolves from Monkey, which is this one right here. So I'd have to have this Pokemon played before I can evolve it into this Pokemon. We'll show you what that looks like in game. You'll also have some kind of EX. These decks each have a EX card. Sometimes the EX is a basic, sometimes it's a stage 1, sometimes it's a stage 2, and it has to follow the rules that apply to those different stages. So you can see here, this is a stage 1, so I would have to play down Riolu before I can evolve it into Lucario. So we'll talk about some of those other cards. Just wanted to make you aware that you've got basics, stage 1 and stage 2 Pokemon, item cards, as well as a variety of trainer cards. So at the beginning of the game, you and your opponent will set up by shuffling your deck. And when you get your brand new deck, usually your deck will have all the cards kind of sorted together. So you're going to want to shuffle the deck a couple of times. And to help keep the games fair, after you've shuffled 3 to 4 to 5 times, and sometimes you may not be able to shuffle like Caleb and I are shuffling. You might just have to do like kind of a stir shuffle like this. There's also laying them on the table and mixing them around. But you do want to do a bit of shuffling, and then you're going to have your opponent cut your deck. This is how we can work to alleviate people and hard feelings if things don't go well. So I'm going to cut Caleb's deck as well. And now, once you've got your deck cut, you're going to deal 7 cards to yourself. So when you start the game, it's always 7 cards. Set my deck back over here, and now I've got my 7 cards dealt. I'm going to take a look at my 7 cards and see what I have for Pokemon. Within my hand, I have a basic, another basic, a stage 1, a couple of energy, and a trainer, and another trainer item card. So at the beginning of the game, before we even do this part here, we're actually going to flip a coin and decide who's going to go first or second. So Caleb's going to call it.
Heads.
He called heads, it's a tails. So the fact that it's a tails means I get to choose, and I'm going to choose to go second. There are special rules as to whether you go first or second, whether you can play or not. Now we're going to be playing with our hands visible or somewhat visible to you guys, so you can see kind of what we have going on. When you play, you'll keep your hand hidden to yourself. You don't want your opponent to know what's out there. So we've done the coin flip. Caleb is going to go first. I'm going to go second. Both of us will lay down basic Pokemon in the active spot, and these first Pokemon go face down. So once we've got basic Pokemon out there, we have to do one more step before we can start playing, and that is we have to set out some prize cards. Now the prize cards are going to be cards you set off to the side here. You don't look at them, but you place 6 cards down. And as you play the game, when you knock out your opponent's Pokemon, you get to take one of your prize cards. Now keep in mind, everything that I'm playing with, my 60 card deck will always stay on my side. I will never be giving cards to Caleb, nor will I be taking cards from Caleb. His deck also has 60 cards and it will always have that 60. So we both set up our basic. We have a basic that's an active basic and as well as a basic here on the bench. We have both kind of got ready to go, so now we'll start the game. So Caleb's going to start. We both will flip over our cards to reveal what we have for our active Pokemon. And now Caleb will start. And the rules to the game are set up right here on the side as well, and you can see that on your playmat too. So step one, he's going to draw a card. Now he drew a basic and he's decided, you know, I'm going to put another basic on the bench. If you look at the bench, there are space for 5 different basics to start. During Caleb's turn, he also can put a Pokemon on the bench. He just did that. He can also attach 1 energy card to 1 Pokemon. During your turn, you can only attach 1 energy at a time. So he's going to attach 1 energy to his Nimble. He can also, if need be, you can retreat an active Pokemon. Well, he's not going to retreat Nimble. He wants to get Nimble powered up. He could evolve on a second turn. You can't evolve during your first turn. Each Pokemon must be on the playmat for at least 1 turn before you can evolve it to a stage 1. Trainer cards you can play. Again, that's a second turn situation. You can only play 1 support card, so if he had a support card like Rorik, he could play that, but just not during the very first turn. And he could use abilities. Abilities are special things. On these 2 cards here, you can see this little red mark. That's an ability. The ability does special things as well during the game. Read what your ability is before you can use it. And then lastly, attacking. Now this is the special rule here. Since he went very first and he's the first player to go, you cannot attack on the very first turn by the first player. So Caleb's turn is done. And now it's my turn. So again, for my turn, I'll draw a card. I can then put a basic Pokemon on my bench. Well, I've already put all my basic Pokemon down I care to. I can attach 1 energy card to one of my Pokemon. I'm going to take an energy, attach it to Mankey. Then I can evolve a Pokemon, but this is still my first turn, so these guys have to sit for 1 turn. I can't evolve my Lechonk into an Unclone, even though I have it. Play a trainer card. I do have a trainer. It's called Youngster. It makes me shuffle my hand into my deck, then draw 5. Well, since I have this stage 1, I don't want to shuffle my deck. I also have this item card. It's a switch card. It allows me to switch my active Pokemon with my bench. I don't want to do that either. So the next step I'm going to do here of this list is I'm going to attack. Now since I went second, I can attack. And I'm going to use Monkey Beatdown. This Pokemon also does 10 damage to itself. So this is where the damage counters come in. Caleb will take 3 damage counters, put them on his Pokemon, and I will take 1 because I did 10 damage to myself. Now you might be wondering, what do these numbers mean? Well, if you look in the upper right corner, each Pokemon has a certain amount of hit points, HP. This particular one has 120. Nimble only has 40. Mankey has 60. When this number gets low enough and I have enough damage counters to wipe them out, these Pokemon will be retired to the discard pile. And my turn is over. Since attacking is the final thing you do, it's now Caleb's turn. He's going to draw a card for his turn. He can attach an energy if he likes. He's going to attach it to Morpeko. He can also evolve if he has an evolution. Now he just picked up an Umbreon, and Eevee has been sitting on his bench for 1 turn, so if he wants, he could also evolve Eevee. I wonder if he's going to do that. Yes, he will. Now you'll notice his Nimble still has 3 damage counters on it. He can use an item card. In his hand, he has a potion that removes 30 damage. So he puts it in his discard pile, and it will remove all 3 of those damage counters. Now he does have 1 more supporter card. Again, you can play 1 supporter card per turn. This supporter card, Rorik, I'm not sure. Is he going to play it? Oh, I think he is going to retreat. So he chose to retreat his Nimble. On the bottom of the card, it has a retreat cost. My example here costs 2 energy to retreat. Nimble only costs 1, so he retreated Nimble with 1 energy and brought up Morpeko. Now, Morpeko doesn't have enough energy. Morpeko only has 1 energy, and Morpeko's attack takes 2 energy. So Morpedo cannot attack, but Caleb still could, if he wanted, play that supporter card. He's going to play it. This particular one allows him to draw 2 cards. And, yep, he discarded, and he gets to take an energy from his discard pile. So each of these supporters does something special. Be sure you read the instructions. Now he's going to place down a Houndour. As you can see, he was able to pull his EX, but he can't evolve Houndour yet. Houndour has to be on the bench for 1 more turn before it can be evolved. Caleb's done with his turn, so now it's my turn. I'm going to draw a card for my turn. Okay, I can place a basic. This Squawk ability is a basic, so I'll put it on the bench. I can evolve Lechonk if I want, and I think I will, since I have a stage 1. It says evolves from Lechonk. When I evolve a Pokemon, I put the new Pokemon right on top. I can also still attach an energy, so I'm going to choose to power up this Oinkologne. So now I have 1 energy on there. And I'm going to actually use my Youngster, which allows me to shuffle my hand in my deck and then draw 5. So I'm going to take these cards, put them into my deck, shuffle my deck, and after I shuffle a couple of times, always have your opponent cut your deck. That way there's no arguing as to whether the deck is cut or shuffled. And Youngster lets me draw 5. Put them into my hand. So now I have my fresh set of cards. Now I did already play a trainer, so I cannot play another trainer. However, I picked up another basic. I'm going to play this basic onto my bench. I also have an item card called Nest Ball. I'm going to actually use this item card right now. Nest Ball says I can search my deck for a basic Pokemon, put it into my bench, and then shuffle my deck. So I put Nest Ball in the discard pile, and now I can pick up my deck and actually search for a particular Pokemon. So here's a Pokemon I'd like to grab, and with Nest Ball I have to put that Pokemon on my bench, shuffle my deck again, and have my opponent cut my deck. Okay, Caleb's going to cut. All right. So I have attached an energy. I've done some evolutions. I put basic Pokemon on my bench. I've used support cards. I am all done doing things here. I'm now going to use my attack. That's the final piece. I'm going to attack using Monkey Beatdown. It's going to do 30 damage. And I also do 10 more damage to myself. So I'll put 10 on myself. And Caleb puts 3 damage counters, 30 damage on his Pokemon. And my turn ends, and now it's Caleb's turn. Caleb's going to draw for his turn. Looks like he's going to evolve his Pokemon. And he can actually evolve his Houndour into Houndoom. Remember, they have to sit on the bench or the active spot for 1 turn before you can evolve. Lastly, he's going to attach 1 energy. And it looks like he might want to do his attack. So this attack, the Energizer Wheel, move 2 dark energy from this Pokemon to one of your bench Pokemon, and it'll do 70 damage. So Caleb's going to move those energy to one of his bench Pokemon. And since it does 70, 70 is greater than the hit points available on this Pokemon is knocked out. Now when a Pokemon gets knocked out, all of the energy and any other cards that are attached to it come along with it and go right into the discard pile. At knockout, Caleb gets to take one of his prize cards, so he's going to choose a prize card, and that card goes into his hand. Now his hand is empty, so it looks like just 1 card. Then before my turn starts, I have to send up a Pokemon to be my next fighter. It's going to be Oinkologne. I've got already 1 energy on Oinkologne. So once that's all happened, now I can draw a card and continue gameplay. So the next step I'm going to do, I'm going to attach an energy. I'm actually going to use my Nemona. Nemona allows me to draw 3 cards. 1, 2, 3. I've already attached energy and I've already played a support card. I have no need to use these cards yet, so I will do my attack. My attack does 50 damage, attack of Ram. So Caleb will add 5 more damage counters. However, his Pokemon only has 40 hit points left, so that Pokemon will get knocked out. Puts it in his discard pile. I will take a prize card. That prize card goes into my hand. And now Caleb has to bring one Pokemon up to be his active Pokemon. He's going to bring up Morpeko. And now his turn will start with him drawing a card. So that's the general idea of how the game works. You always follow the rules as listed here. Draw a card first, attach an energy, put a basic Pokemon on your bench. If you want, you can retreat your Pokemon using or losing whatever retreat the cost is. You can evolve Pokemon once they've been on the bench for at least one turn or on the active spot for at least one turn. You can use one trainer card, that's a supporter. Nimona is an example, Youngster is an example. And then you can use an ability, and lastly, you would attack on the end of your turn. So once we keep playing, if we were to keep playing, let's say Caleb would knock out this Pokemon and we kept playing, the winner would be whomever took all their prize cards. Or let's say Caleb knocks out this Pokemon and I bring this Pokemon later on and this Pokemon and I got my last one and Caleb knocks that last Pokemon out. This would be another way that a player would win and I would then lose, because either taking all the prize cards or having no Pokemon available is how we end the game. So if you have any questions, you can ask Caleb. He'll be there at class. And good luck. Enjoy playing Pokemon, and we'll see you in class real soon.